So, I've been watching a few Hey Arnold episodes lately, and it's been brought to my attention that this show is criminally underrated. I am ashamed to admit, I never really gave it a chance when it came on TV when I was a kid. I would always change the channel or something. But now that I realize that this show is actually amazing, I have so many topics that I want to talk about, and I want to use this cartoon to help me with those videos. The episode Chocolate Boy is a masterpiece. It's about unhealthy addictions and how to overcome them. And boy, does it have some great tips that I want to share. I am happy to discuss Hey Arnold's 6 tips for addiction recovery. And don't take this 9-year-old football head unseriously. It's almost as if all he reads off screen is psychology books. So this is Chocolate Boy. As the nickname implies, he's addicted to chocolate. And when I say he's addicted, I mean he's severely, dangerously addicted. The bullies in the school manipulate his addiction for their satisfaction and entertainment. They make him do ridiculous things in exchange for free chocolate, just so they can laugh at his helplessness. The bullies make a deal with Chocolate Boy that if he goes weeks without eating chocolate, he can have 10 pounds of chocolate. After struggling for the first few hours, he goes to Arnold for help, knowing he can't do it alone. Believing that he's trying to get off his addiction for good, Arnold decides to help Chocolate Boy out, knowing exactly what to do first. He makes him throw away all the chocolate in his room, every last trace of it, so that it's not easy for him to sneak one into his body. This is just the first of 6 steps Arnold believes in to overcome an addiction. Delete and/or throw it all away. Arnold's reasoning behind this first step is to make it difficult to obtain the thing we're craving for. It would be wise to put blockers on our computers if the addiction is something that can be found online in seconds. I'm pretty sure you know which websites I'm talking about. And if the addiction is something that could be found in specific stores, we can make it a rule for ourselves that we aren't allowed to go into that specific store for any reason whatsoever. We basically ban ourselves from websites, stores, and anywhere else we can find that specific addiction. This strategy works very effectively. However, unfortunately, withdrawal symptoms are a thing, and Chocolate Boy starts to feel it after a couple of days. Though thanks to perseverance and a lot of help from Arnold, he's able to complete the 2 weeks without chocolate challenge and is quote unquote rewarded with 10 pounds of chocolate from his bullies. When Arnold finds out the truth that this was Chocolate Boy's motivation for temporarily quitting, he is disappointed that it was not a permanent decision. I mean, he's got this far. Why should he stop now? This is one of the many great points this episode makes. When we are successful in our challenges, for some reason, we think it's a good idea to reward ourselves with an unhealthy amount of that very addiction. Though I wouldn't say this makes the 2 weeks basically pointless, because we do have proof of success that we can use for reference for the future by going on these little challenges. But relapses, especially to this magnitude, will just make it harder than it needs to be to get over the addiction.
I followed you around for 2 weeks just because of a bet? I thought you really wanted to quit.
I'm sorry, Arnold. I gotta go.
So, Chocolate Boy's bullies take advantage of him once again, humiliating him, making him do embarrassing dances for chocolate, destroying any ounce of dignity he has left. It gets so bad that when he's searching a dumpster for any hidden chocolate, he finally takes a good, hard look at himself in the mirror and realizes that he needs to take care of this problem of his. So once again, he goes to Arnold for accountability reasons. I love how this episode makes an emphasis to point out that addictions need to be solved with people we can trust. When we rely on our own willpower and try to solve these addictions with our own understanding and strength, it makes it harder than it needs to be. There are a lot of wise people in the world that have an impressive amount of information about specific addictions. When we're serious about quitting, finding these people becomes easier than one might think. On the topic of seriousness, the reason why it could be so difficult to get off an addiction, and the reason why Chocolate Boy had a major relapse, is because he wasn't serious about being done with chocolate. The minute we say the words, "insert addiction here is dead to me," out loud and mean it, is the minute we are free forever. Because by saying this sentence out loud, we create a new reality for ourselves, a new hope, a new future that wouldn't have existed otherwise. When something is dead to us, it means it can't be revived. There is no going back. And that's why before Arnold agrees to help him for a second time, he makes sure that Chocolate Boy has gotten to that point in his heart. Otherwise, he knows they're both just going to waste their time. This is where the episode gets incredibly informative. The strategies that Arnold uses are legitimate, and I can confirm based on personal experience that every single one of them works if they are practiced consistently. Following Arnold's first strategy to overcoming an addiction, which was deleting and throwing it away, the second strategy is to use scare tactics, which, if you're a longtime follower of mine, you probably remember the part when I said scare tactics shouldn't be relied on, because fear and anxiety is, more likely than not, what caused the addiction in the first place. Arnold basically makes a point with his PowerPoint presentation by saying non-verbally, addictions can make us very sick. They can put us in the hospital, they can give us a nightmare time at the dentist. And who wants to go to jail? I know I don't. Now, these are basic scare tactics, but one scare tactic I find very effective is the fear of facing a specific person or a respected role model. Our parents, children, coaches, teachers, God. If we can't do it for ourselves, we should do it for those we deeply care about. Arnold's third tip to overcome an addiction is to literally sweat all of the addiction out of our system. Running, sports, exercise in general, chilling in a hot tub, and in this case, relaxing in a steam room are all great ways to get our minds off an addiction, and even literally remove some or all of the substance from our bodies. This is great because it gets our mind off guilt and more focused on possibilities for growth.
Now that you've sweated all the chocolate out of your system, how do you feel?
I feel great, full of energy and good thoughts.
Speaking of possibilities for growth, Arnold's next step in addiction recovery is to invest in a healthy substitute our future selves will thank us for. We have to be careful with this one. A common mistake is thinking a substitute that we're making is healthy when it really isn't. When Arnold encourages a healthy substitute, he uses a plant-based diet as an example. This is a safe bet if the addiction is food-related. And even if it's not, it's still a step in the right direction because healthy foods help us feel good about ourselves rather than guilt, which is what unhealthy addictions make us feel. Arnold's fifth step to getting rid of an addiction is to uncover the trauma behind the addiction. One of the highlights of this episode is it gives the message addictions is only half the problem. It's what caused the habit in the first place that also needs to be brought into attention. Regardless of how embarrassing or confusing our habits are, the fact of the matter is, every addiction starts somewhere. Most of the time, it's used to cover up suffering from our past. When Arnold sits Chocolate Boy down and guides him through the process of deeply contemplating his past, he remembers that the person that got him so hooked on chocolate was his nanny, who always used to take good care of him. However, one random day, she moved away and he never saw her again. The chocolate that she gave him right before she left is what started his addiction.
It's okay that you miss your nanny, but eating chocolate is not going to bring her back.
I know.
She told you to be good and to be happy. What would your nanny think if she saw you now, eating chocolate out of dumpsters?
She wouldn't like it, 'cause I'm not being good and I'm not happy.
You can be happy if you stop eating chocolate.
All of a sudden, Chocolate Boy has some new motivation to get off his addiction, doing it for his nanny. Similarly to what I said earlier, if our reason for quitting is bigger than ourselves, then it will only make it easier and more meaningful. Finding our motivation gets us thinking more positively rather than believing in those self-defeating thoughts. So when we replace those self-defeating thoughts with thoughts such as, I can be happy, I am loved, I can accomplish my dreams, and truly believe in those statements, we can congratulate ourselves because we've officially reached the final step. Positive affirmations.
I can be good.
You can be happy.
I can be happy.
You don't need chocolate.
I don't eat chocolate.
You're free.
I'm free. I'm free. Free of chocolate. Yeah, I'm free. No more chocolate.
Because Chocolate Boy truly believes it in his heart, and he dealt with the hidden loneliness that made him relapse again and again, he's freed from his addiction. And it shocks the entire school that they need to come up with a new nickname for him. Perhaps Radish Boy would be a good replacement, since Arnold says it doesn't take him long to get hooked on that new substitute of his. And that's also a realistic possibility we have to watch out for. It's so easy to replace one unhealthy addiction with another. Gotta get that dopamine rush somewhere, right? Well, the point is to be aware of that. In conclusion, some of us have common addictions and some of us have strange addictions. To recover, it's not about shaming ourselves, but it's about developing momentum and investing in healthy habits that's going to put us in the right direction for improvement. What may seem like small progress is still progress. So whatever the obstacle is, we should be proud of ourselves for making any sort of progress. And when we surround ourselves with people who believe in us, success is right around the corner. Good luck, don't forget to express yourself, and thanks for watching.